Welcome to this YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to format these dates from this format into a format like I type here that you can see on my screen. I want it to have the year first, the month, and the day. So this is what I want. This is what I have. So, and I want to use Power Query to do this. Of course, you can use Excel formulas, but in this example, I want to use Power Query. So let's see how we can get around this. Now, I have Power Query installed as an add-on. Right here, I have Power Query installed as an add-on. So when I click there, this is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to click on my data, but before that, I need to give it a header. So let's call this date, like so. Then I click on Power Query from a table to convert this into a table. When it finishes, I click OK. Then it loads it into Power Query. So how am I going to approach this? The way I'm going to approach it is first separate the day, month, and the year into separate columns. Then after that, I'll add a 0 where the digit is 1, for cases where the digit is 1, and for cases where it is not 1 and there are 2, for the day and month, I'll leave it as is. So first things first, let's separate these day, month, and year. So to do that, I'll go under transform, the tab called transform. Under transform, there is, when you move to the right, there's split column, which gives you two options, dialog and number of characters. So you can split the columns based on the number of characters or the delimiter. Delimiter just means what separation of the columns are you going to use. So I'm going to use delimiter, and my delimiter is going to be the slash. Where there is a slash, I want a column there. So I say by delimiter. It gives me this dialog which splits the column by delimiter and has correctly identified the delimiter as /. So I can use the leftmost delimiter first. So it will separate as using the leftmost or the rightmost, or still you can use the each occurrence of the delimiter. I think this is the better option because this one will do it in one step, but the earlier two will do it in 2 steps. Below here, there are other options, advanced options that can be considered, which you can explore. But for my case, this is good enough. So I'm going to click OK. When I do that, as you can see, the day, month, and the year are already separated into separate columns. And what I'm doing, I'm going to name my headers so that they have names that are easy to identify. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to run through this data using a logical test. I'm going to go row by row for each of these day and find out where the length of this digit is 1. And if it is 1, I add a 0 in front. And if it is not, I'll retain the 2 digits. My objective is to have 2 digits in the day column and the month column. So to do that, I'm going to create a column. And there are different options you can use to create a column. But for my case, I want a custom column. So I'll click on custom column. I'll give it a name. So I'm starting with the day. So I'm going to call this amended day. Then I'm going to put here a formula, which is going to do a logical test. What is this logical test? It is going to find out the length of the day. If the length equals 1, it means it has 1 digit, and I need to add a 0 in front of that digit. If the length is 2, then I don't need to do anything. So the if function comes in handy here. So I'm going to type if, then to get the length of the digit, I'm going to use an inbuilt function of Power Query called text.length. And be careful to start with a capital letter on text and capital letter on length. Then the next is for which I want to find for date. I can double click there or click on insert when I've highlighted the column I want. Then I close my brackets. So what I'm trying to test is whether the length of that day for each of them is equal to 1. If it is equal to 1, then I type then. It means that I have 1 digit, and I need to add a 0 in front. So I put in quotes, I put a 0 like we do in Excel functions. I put an n%. Then after that, after I've done this, I need to add the day. Else means that it is not equal to 1, it is greater than 1, in which case it is 2. So in that case, there's nothing I do, so I'll just add my day. When you move right down here, you see notice syntax errors have been detected, meaning that my formula is okay, it has no errors, and therefore I'm ready to click OK. And this one will add a new column called amended date in my table here. So when I do that, you can see the amended day has been added, and single digits have a 0 in front of them. I'm going to do the same for month because I have single digits here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a column, and it's going to be a custom column. And this time I'm going to call it amended month. So I'm going to ask a question again. If the text of that month, double click on it, it goes here. The length is equal to 1. Then I type then, what happens? It means it has 1 digit, and I need to put a 0 in front of it. Put a 0, then add my month. Else, I'll just take my month as is, and then no syntax errors, everything is fine. So I say okay. When I do that, I've managed to change the single digit months into double digits. Now, since I have my day and month in the format I want, the last thing I need to do is to combine my year, month, and day into a format I want. To do that, I'm also going to use the same add column and also custom column. And this time, I'm going to call it my final date, because this is my final date. So what do I want? I want to start with the year. There's nothing of no transformation on the year, so I double click on that. I'm going to separate my year and month with a dash. So I say n% in between quotes, add a dash, and then n%, like so. The next, I want the month. Be careful, don't use this month, but use amended month, because this amended month is the one which has zeros in front of the month that has 1 digit. After that, I'm going to append again a dash using the same approach as before. Then I add my day, which is the amended day. Right down here, it shows me there is no syntax error, meaning that everything is okay. And all I need to do is click OK. When I do that, you can see my year, month, and date are combined into my final date. So if you want, you can change this into the date format, but I think I'm okay with that. So what I need to do is to load it back into Excel. But before I load it, I need only this date. I don't need all these others. So I'm going to click on this column of the final date. I right click on it, and I have this option here, which says remove other columns. So what this will do is going to remove the other columns, and I remain with only this column that is highlighted. So I click on that, and it rightly so retains the column I want. And at this stage, I'm ready to load it back into my Excel. So I'll go to File, then Load to a new worksheet. That's okay. It's going to create a new worksheet, which is called Sheet 2. And you can see my data is right away formatted into the format that I want. So this is how you can format lists using Power Query. I hope this has been helpful. Please subscribe if not, and if you want to watch more videos like this, you need to encourage me by subscribing, watching, sharing these videos, such that I can produce more videos that can increase our productivity. Thank you for watching and have a great day.